When I first started producing music over 10 years ago, I felt overwhelmed by all these tools and options. Today, after all the tracks that I produced and the experiences that I gained from it, I know exactly what I would focus on if I had to start over. So if you're just starting out, let me share with you the key things to make your journey a lot smoother. Now, I structured this video into 3 main parts: technology, theory, and mentality. Because I think music production is essentially that. It is gear and software, it is music theory and technical skills, and it is creativity and inspiration. So let's dive right into it. If you produce music in today's day and age, you will need a computer and a DAW. I think of these 2 things as the core in the music production universe. It is the place where you will spend the most amount of time, so it really helps if your computer is not from 1984 and your DAW is one that you like to look at for a long period of time. Now for the DAW, I can tell you that I used so many different DAWs in the past. I started out with Cubase when I bought my first interface right here. After that, I changed to Logic, Fruity Loops, Reason, Pro Tools, and now I ended up with Ableton Live that I use until this day. So when you want to try out a DAW, mostly the first 30 to 60 days are free. So if you're not yet sure, make sure to pick the ones that you find interesting and just take the time to try them out. For beginners, I would recommend Fruity Loops or Ableton. The reason for that is because they are quite intuitive and easy to start out with, and there's a lot of material and tutorials out there which will definitely help you to get started. Which DAW did you start out with? Or if you're just starting out, which DAW are you thinking of using? Let me know in the comments. The same that holds true for DAWs also holds true for plugins. Try before you buy. Music production can be a black hole for your money, so only buy the gear or software that you actually tried out first. I also have this rule for myself that I read in a book once. If I want to buy something worth over $100, I have to wait for at least 24 hours before buying it. This way I could already save a ton of money in the past. Also, don't forget about the stock plugins that already come with most DAWs. They are already great, and if you want to write a hit song, more better plugins will not necessarily help you. What definitely will help you is if you focus on deepen your knowledge and skills how to actually use these tools. Which already brings me to the second part of this video. Now, to produce music, you basically need 2 different skills and theories. The first is music theory, which will focus on compositions, on melodies, or in rhythms. And the second is technical theory. So this is all about audio engineering, sound design, or mixdown. Now, I would argue that both are very important and a great song covers both areas. But if I had to prioritize one, I would say that music theory comes first. I think a song that lacks technical finesse and mixing, but contains novel and creative musical ideas, will always win over a song that lacks this musical part, but is greatly mixed. But if you have another opinion on that, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you think about this take. Now, how would I learn music theory if I had to start over? I would say probably the easiest way is by learning an instrument. Being able to play an instrument can really lay a solid foundation for your music production journey. I was lucky enough that my parents pushed me to play an instrument at a very young age. I actually received this flute right here when I was around 6 years old, and after that I switched to drums and later to piano. For me personally, this probably had the biggest impact on my journey. And my first productions were actually all made up out of acoustic instruments only. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about music theory, I also have this video right here where I talk about my process of coming up with chord progressions. One thing I would tell my younger self starting with music production is not to get too stuck on one particular song. Sometimes I actually spent weeks on one song and I just couldn't move on, and this led to frustration, and in the end I was just not interested in the song anymore. So when you're really just starting out, try to focus on finishing songs. This way you will always go through all the stages that are needed to actually produce a full song. I myself, for example, spent thousands of hours on sound design, but never actually got around to do an arrangement. And this left me just lagging behind with the skills in arranging, in finishing, and just committing to an idea and a song. Now, another very easy thing that you can do from the beginning on is to actually listen to other music. And with listening, I mean analytical listening. Just try dragging your favorite songs into a DAW and just look at the waveforms. This is Poker Face by Lady Gaga, and here you can see the intro. Then we have here the first verse, chorus, verse, chorus, going into bridge, and then chorus again. So just looking at the waveform, you can already learn a lot of things, and doing that with your favorite tunes, this will definitely give you a lot of insights into how these songs were made. Now, the final thing that I want to say when it comes to theory is the value of a good teacher or mentor. I had many different people who influenced and helped me in the beginning, and I still have these people today. In my case, these people were teachers at music schools, DJs and other music producers from the area where I live, mastering engineers giving me feedback on my mixdowns, music producers working at a music studio where I did an internship at, or even label owners that gave me feedback on the music that I released with them. Now, when it comes to feedback, I'm always a little bit torn. Music is something very personal and very subjective, and to say if something is good or bad, it's just mostly not possible. Now, when you receive feedback from someone, always try to distill what's actually useful for you and your music, and what is just a taste or an opinion of someone. If you really feel the music that you do, don't let anyone take this away from you. This leads me nicely into the third and last section of this video. If you actually want to feel your music, you sometimes have to stick to an idea a little bit longer. I always have this measure of my own goosebumps, so when I listen to my own music and I get goosebumps, I know that I'm on the right track. Music is something very emotional, and for me personally, this is the most important measure. Not how loud or how wide or how well something is mixed, but do you actually feel something when you listen to it? And in order to reach this stage, you sometimes have to stick to an idea for a little bit longer and develop it a little bit further. In these moments where you just don't quite feel it yet, it's super easy to just take out your phone or get up and walk away and do something else. To prevent this from happening, I started to do focus sessions. So I just set myself a timer and I don't do anything else but produce music until the timer runs out. This really helps me to further develop ideas and really dive deep into my productions. It got me quite a few years to be where I am at now, and I think there are really just no shortcuts in music production. There's no magic pill yet that you can take to do that, and what you really need is just patience. Patience to be bad at something at first, patience to fix the problems that you have with your computer, and patience to reach the level of your music that you actually want to achieve. It is quite a long but very beautiful journey, and I can really recommend it to anyone who is passionate about music production. And if you do embark on this journey, don't forget to release your music. Your music will always change and evolve, and I think it's never a better time to release your music than now. You will be amazed by how it touches people, even if it's just a few at the beginning. If you don't know yet how, I made this video right here where I talk about my experiences releasing music with a label or independently. But before you watch that, set that timer and start producing. Thanks for watching.